Eyes became a form of body armor. In the Spy Museum, we call the mask a 5-second mask. They proved invaluable. You could change your ethnicity, you could change your gender, you could change your nationality, and if you needed to, you could actually become another person. You could change your ethnicity, you could change your gender, you could change your nationality, and if you needed to, you could actually become another person.
You could change your ethnicity, you could change your gender, you could change your nationality, and if you needed to, you could actually become another person.
When I was chief of disguise, we had already begun using Hollywood stunt double masks. That was a technology that came straight out of LA.
The many faces of Elvis Presley. And believe me, there are many faces of Elvis Presley. This guy was an agent, and I will prove without a shadow of a doubt he was an agent. Now, those who are doubting now will see soon. The MK Ultra that was in the crowd, the actors that they put in the crowd, it was all an operation. Elvis's whole career was an operation. Now let's look at these three different looking Elvises. I believe that different people played Elvis, especially towards the 50s and the 60s. Towards the end of the 60s and the end of the 70s, I am convinced that there was an age. It was just somebody that was wearing prosthetics or some type of a mask. When Elvis was drafted into the army in the 1950s, he was stationed in Germany where he learned karate. He was introduced to karate before people in America even knew what it was. So that's one thing we know off top. He actually became a black belt in 1960, and by the time 1970 Ford came along, he was an 8th degree black belt. Elvis was serious enough about karate that he eventually became an instructor. So we got this Hollywood man, remember he was doing movies. We got this greatest musician at the time, and he's a martial arts. What else can we find out about this man? In 1974, Elvis advanced once again to become an 8th degree black belt. I just want to nail that home of what matter of man we're dealing with. He is actually in the Martial Arts Hall of Fame along with Bruce Lee. Elvis. Now, Elvis was a U.S. narcotics agent, and he started that in the 1950s. One of the most famous musicians in the world, and was also a secret narcotic agent. So how would they use Elvis Presley? Elvis could get places police couldn't get. Elvis was around all the rockers, and he brought a lot of the rockers down. They started putting together towards the 70s, and that's why they really had to cut his operation short and get him out of there. Because yes, he was an agent. He was an entity, much like Coca-Cola. He also brought down police that were protecting the drug dealers, especially in these southern places where rock is really big. So what do we know about Elvis so far? We know he was the greatest musician. We know he was one of the greatest actors, not as far as acting skills, but his volume of movies. We know he was a martial arts instructor, a martial arts expert, and we know for a fact he was an agent. He was an agent. So why would you not believe what he is actually telling you to be true? What the newspaper tell you to be true? Do you know when Elvis died, they digged off his body? The police found some mafia members from New Jersey that was digging up Elvis's body. He screwed a lot of people. Now, let's go deeper into this, which is finna really just blow your socks off. And I got this in one of my other videos, but I really just had to break it down to show you step by step. Now, this is a native woman. This man right here, face starts melting, starts coming off. That's what people say melting. Really, his face mask is getting wild. They're trying to patch him up. Look at the side of his right face. Look how red it is. Not only that, look at how the little girl started looking at him. Look at this man's eyes. You guys, you know, people seen this and they say it was a reptilian. That is a face mask. That is a rubbery face mask. This is a UHD advanced photo. This is what that photo looks like in UHD, and that is not a real face. You can see the fake hair, you can see the fake skin. That mask started melting down. I don't know what was going on with that man, but if you look at the right side of his face, it's almost like he's stroking out, but rapidly stroking out. But that is a mask. But you guys still ain't gonna believe it, huh? Well, explain to me exactly what this is, or how his eyes is bulging out. They're trying to wipe sweat off his face. Why you as grown men need another man to wipe sweat up off your face? Come on, man. Look at how she is looking at him. Then shortly you're going to see them push people out. Now that's his handler right there. I know for a fact he's an agent. There's another person that has a weird nose that goes on the other side of him. But look at that. I just want you guys to understand what is really going on here. That is fake hair. That is fake skin. That is a face mask. They was doing face masks since the 60s. This is 1977. And guess what? A few months after this video, he died. Now, if that's not enough for you, let's talk about his comeback concert. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. He was out of the public eye for a long time. And by the time he came back, I don't even believe this was the same actor that was playing him before. But I want you to notice this crowd. Now, this crowd is very somber. It is a paid audience. Now, that's not no conspiracy. They admit this. Ed Parker admitted that the crowd was paid for his Christmas special, which was really nicknamed the comeback special, because it didn't have a whole lot to do about Christmas. He used that to come back. So you look at these people, look to God to the side, look at some of these people veering off. Remember when they was acting all wild to see Elvis? Remember when they was jumping up and down and they was screaming and they was yelling? What happened? What happened? Now out of something they could contain themselves. And look, even if you look at those pictures, it was just a few people in that crowd that was screaming, and the video just happens to focus on them. You get that? Do you understand what is going on? Or do you believe this to all be true? You believe everything you see on TV? Elvis was an agent. He stirred a lot of people the wrong way. But what a lot of people don't understand about Elvis, that he started their agenda years and years ago. Before we get into that, I just want you to see that line that's coming out of his face right there. Because you got to understand that this is bigger than what you can see. When a person has two different lines on one face, now let's look at his rubbery face compared to the other ones. You know, and those two Elvises are not the same. Now back to their agenda that they was pushing even back then. When he said the one that Joe Bird said to the other Joe Bird, "You're the cutest thing I ever did see," that was a gay song. Having a party in the jail. He was a very feminine person. He had eyeliner. When he walked around, people called him crazy names, you know. But I'm just gonna nail this home to you that this agenda was started way back then. They had to slow grind it. Now I'm gonna read you somebody who's actually writing a post years later. This is from the Observer. Elvis never gets credit for this one thing. The most important aspect of Elvis' legacy is something so obvious that it has defied revelations. Elvis Presley invented being androgynous as a standard of a rock or pop frontman. Every rock star that you had, especially them, they looked like women because they was trying to attract women to start looking at different features so they can then later do the LGBT thing. Now then let's talk about Captain Marvel. Do you realize that a lot of what happened to Captain Marvel happened to Elvis? Do you realize that Elvis actually patterned his style off of Captain Marvel, even down to the lightning bolt on his suits, on his take care of business, his TCB baby? That was a lightning bolt. Now, what happened to Captain Marvel Jr. happened to Elvis a lot, and Elvis looked a lot like him. So I believe that magazine served a point of kind of telling the people that are in the know what the next step's going to be, what the next move is going to be. Are you still having doubts? Do you still not believe? I mean, how much has to come out about this man? And I didn't even go into him marrying a 14-year-old. I didn't go into all that. But the same thing with the car bombings and that happened where they tried to bomb his car, that happened to Captain Junior. A lot of people don't know that there was an attempt on Elvis's life out when he was in Germany. And you know why? Because they knew he was an agent. If I can figure this out, you think they didn't figure this out back then? And I understood I got technology on my side, and Most High be working with me, but you gotta know that there's a reason why they was attempting on this man's death, on his life, I mean. And there's also a reason that Elvis Presley never left America when he came back. He never left the United States.
Come with me if you want to live.
He never went anywhere without his entourage. And let's not forget, he is the original person with an entourage. Now, there's no way you can convince me these two people are the same people. They're telling you that this is what Elvis looked like. This is a fat version of Elvis in a fat suit. Like, they're trying to tell us that this is what Elvis looked like towards the end of his death. But we seen him a few months before, and he didn't look nothing like that. So this is just to wake you guys up. When these people are meant to the madness they're doing, and you still don't want to believe it. Look at this fake crowd. Nothing is as it seems, and there's a reason the inventor of the Church of Satan said TV was their biggest ally. And then they do little creepy stuff like this, like putting Elvis in the back of the Home Alone movie. I mean, y'all don't see what's going on here? Elvis Presley, C.I.A. face mask.